Saul's wounds lie ambushed. Maybe I should grab a shower. Join if you like.
Shower, you say? Well, yeah, let's go make a shower. But yeah, so this video today, I'm gonna be covering two things. One, how you can make a shower for yourself, and two, how you can hide a bunch of that trash that shows up next to the staircase in your back room. So, 2 in 1. So, yeah, so I had two reasons for wanting to make the shower. One, Arthur request. Let's get that in there. Two, while I like a lot of the furniture that is provided by default in the back rooms, such as this little seat here, the couches upstairs, some other stuff, I'm sure a lot of people don't like how literally trashy it looked back here. So my thought process was, I want to build a shower. Let's put it back here and hide all the trash. So let's get into the basics of the shower stall. We'll kind of build it out here because it is a little tight here. So if you want just your absolute basic shower, you're going to need the stall itself, and you're going to need, well, the shower itself. So what I ended up doing, let me move my drifter a little out of the way. The most basic walls I have are made up of these Zimmermann wall panels. I have one for the back. This is not flush against the back wall because it is hiding trash behind it. I'll just show it to you real quick. If you'll let me. Let's try it in another fashion. Kind of sits in the box back there. Yeah, kind of limited how much I can move it. It is a very tight space. But yeah, there's a bunch of boxes and whatnot back there. So I have this pushed against the back as much as I can without having some of the boxes and whatnot in the back peeking through. This wall over here, I have it, well, behind these tables, I have another Zimmermann wall panel. I have that on this side because it is thin. So, just show it right here. Zimmermann wall panel on this side. If you want to go as simple as possible, you can put another Zimmermann wall panel on this side as well. It's not what I did. I did something else. We'll get into that later. And if you want to top your shower, hey, you can do another Zimmermann wall panel. So literally you can just do like wall, floor, ceiling, Zimmermann wall panels if you want. That's your most basic you're going to get. They're 5K rep each from Zimmermann, so it's not too expensive either. So you can get a basic box going for your shower that way. Now, I didn't do the Zimmermann wall panel for the flooring. I did something else, which I'll show you. But let me first show you, if you want to do flooring with the Zimmermann wall panel, let me show you a little trick. If you want to get it flush with the floor. And you can do this in like your orbiter as well, or wherever you want. So I have one Zimmermann wall panel available. Let's make it tiny. And there's two sides of this. One side of it, it's kind of curved at all the edges. It has those little metallic circles on this side. So what you can do, push it against the floor as much as you can. Not being very cooperative right now, but there we are. It's being extra large right now. Okay, so you want it more flush against the floor? Rotate it 180 degrees so that the more flat side is at the bottom instead. And now you have a Zimmermann wall panel flush against the floor. You can do this in your orbiter as well if you want to have it flush against the floor, but some of the floor details, which are a little higher than your base floor, they'll actually peek through on this. So like lightings, various trims and whatnot. So that's something you can do if you're Zimmermann. These wall panels, if you want to use this as flooring. I, however, had been using these as walls, so I will actually continue to use these as walls for these other examples I'm going to give you. Wait. Let's just put this as an example. right here. So let's pretend that this is the back wall of the shower. Now, yeah, good enough. Okay, so the flooring I ended up using is actually Zerman floor pad, but I didn't use it the way as intended. I'll show you that. So I use a similar technique with the whole thing about getting it flush on the floor. I guess I have to look up the floor here. Oh, that's Market, it's not Vendor. By the way, all the things I'm going to be showing you guys today, zero plat, with one exception. The exception you can get for free quite easily, though, so which is why I'm including it. So here is the floor pad as normal. So similar technique that we did with this Zerman wall panel here. We're going to take this, rotate it 180, so that's flush with the floor. And what I did back here is I took this is the exact same floor pad, moved it back here, and let me show you what I did. So I'm going to actually move this down a little bit if it'll let me. I might have to go into local for this one. So looking back here in your own space, if you have all the default furniture on, there is actually an awful lot of paper trash and whatnot on the floor, which doesn't look very nice. And I certainly would not want that for the floor of my shower. So what I did is with this floor pad, I make the size the absolute maximum so it can cover as much of that trash as possible. Then I bumped it up a little. Let me see if it'll let me bump it down. No? Okay, let me bump it up. See if it'll let me bring it down. Might just move this out of the way. Let's do this. Let's move this out of the way temporarily. I can put it back. So yeah, the floor ordinarily here, there's a lot of trash here. I really didn't like that. So I put this in place back here. Initially, when it's more flush with the floor, some of the trash is still peeking through. So what you need to do is lift it a little bit. Constrain movement. May or may not need to do local. Just bump it up slightly, just a little bit at a time, until the trash is covered. Now, one thing that it ended up doing here is, let me move this all the way to show you. There was another rug in place that this floor pad's also covering. But if I move this back all the way, which is relatively close, not back all the way, some of this rug's still peeking through. I didn't really like that too much, so I took this Tenno Kindred rug. This is available from Barrow. So might not be available at the point you're watching this, but it will be available at some point. I put this over that portion of the rug. Again, lowered it as much as I could. Just enough to cover that spot. Now it's let's see if it'll let me bring this down a little bit more again. Constrained movement. Yeah, constrained movement's definitely your friend here, particularly since we're going to be working in a very limited space. Good enough for now. But yeah, let me move the floor pad back a little bit again. Okay, got pushed forward. I think I got shrunk somehow too. Let's see. Yep, it got shrunk. Now it's back to about its normal size. Push it back a little bit more again. Just enough so that it hides all the trash. Still got a little bit in the back corner. Okay. And we'll call that good on the flooring. So yeah, so when you have it The one interesting thing it does in this back corner here, and the exit decoration mode so you can hopefully see it better. Now, various points in this backroom floor, there's actually these little puddles of water. You can kind of see one by my drifter right here with the light reflection. There's one on top of this floor mat right here as well. It also has these puddles of water back here at this shower area, trash area, too. So if you move around, you can kind of see the light reflection off of them. But we do have one of these puddles of water at the back of this shower, right where I put this drain. I'll show you how I did that in a second. So it kind of makes it also work as a shower area because we had the trash hidden, but you still have the water there as if this actually was a shower. Okay, so next part I'll show you guys, and this is where we get into the thing that's technically a platinum item. I'm going to give you guys a couple different options for shower heads you can use. I will put them over here to show you guys. That's why I left the wall up. Now, two different items you're going to want. One is you're going to want an item to represent the piping for the shower head. What I have been using is, I believe it's Zerman generator light. I'm going to shrink this down all the way so you don't have a really thick water pipe because you really don't need it. And what we're going to do is we're going to rotate this. Let's say at... wrong way. It's roughly 60... So I moved this over roughly 30 degrees. And we're just going to tuck this behind the wall. So the light's hidden behind the wall, but the pipe's coming out. And you can adjust the angle as necessary on this one. Entirely your choice. We'll go with that. This is... I might want to... Actually... Totally one of those is just as needed things. We'll go with this. So here's your water pipe coming out of the wall. Now, two different options for shower heads. I'll show you the 100% free one first. There might be other options out there as well, but I found these to work the best from the ones I looked at. So Zerman Glow Base. I think this is large or small as you want. Let's me just, for my case, a little bit smaller. Rotate it roughly the same amount you did for your pipe. And just try to get it so that I totally misplaced it there. Try to get it so that the center of the pipe is roughly at the center of this base here. So another one of those adjust as needed sort of things. You can make this larger, smaller as you want. Maybe you want a larger shower head. Maybe you want a smaller shower head. To help you place it, you might want to actually have it intersect it with the pipe. Then you can just lower it a little bit. We'll call this one good enough just for the sake of placement. So you got a bit of a shower head coming out of your shower wall right there. Now the other option, I am actually going to repurpose this pipe. Remove this shower head. This one is actually the platinum item that I mentioned. This is a Tenno Note beacon, I believe. Yep, Note beacon. Now, the reason why I'm including this is two reasons, actually. One, I have seen these show up as possible Twitch drops, usually from weekend content creators, on several different occasions. So these can be available free. Two, because of what this item does, it actually provides a really nice effect that can actually look like water coming out of the shower head. And thankfully, you don't have to pay the bills for it. So for this, first thing you want to do, remove the text. You don't need any text in this. Scale doesn't really matter. Length, I'd start out with somewhere between 3 and 3.5. Let's give this one 3.5. And you can adjust from there. Color, pick a lighter color. You don't want anything too dark because you actually want it to show up. Maybe like start out with a light gray, perhaps. Let's see, does this one work? Light, medium gray. Let's just pick this one just for the sake of that one. So we'll go with that. And adjust as needed. If you're in a darker area, maybe you want a lighter color. I'm just picking this as a random example. If you want to go crazy, pick something pink. Maybe you want to do something like an LED type shower head type thing. And it's the watercolor is different because of that. Go for it. But we're just going to do something that looks kind of will look like water. So similar to what we did with the other shower head. I'm going to rotate this. Get the rotation right. So that your shower water is pointing down. And it's at roughly the same angle as the pipe. And again, to help you place it, you can have the pipe intersect with this to help you get it centered. That's roughly where it is. And you notice in this particular case, the water is not going all the way down. That's because of the one of the settings that we didn't change. The length we gave it didn't take. So there I just randomly bumped it to 3.43. We'll go with that one. So the water in this case is now reaching to the floor and perhaps even a little bit below the floor. So that's probably what you're going to do for this is if you want this water effect, make it long enough so that it reaches the floor. So that number can go all the way to 5. So if you happen to have a very, very high shower head, you might want to bump it up to 5, and hopefully in your case that will be the water effect reaching the floor. But again, this is a platinum item, but it is reasonably often available as a Twitch drop, so you should be able to get one for free at some point. Like I've gotten several of these for free in the past year. Okay, so on top of having the shower, you want to be able to adjust said shower. So let me show you what I used for that. Yet another Zeraman item. And actually, it's the globe base again. The same thing you use for your shower head. But this time, we're going to place it in a different sort of position. So, flush against the wall. You might want to scale it down a fair bit, maybe even all the way. And just have it so that the little details in the middle of it are kind of centered. This one's a little bit off because of how I placed it. So this can kind of represent like your little adjustment for the shower for the hot or cold water. That's what I have over here as well. So here's mine. And I have both different shower heads in there because I might actually just leave both in there like that. But yeah, that's my little shower adjuster type thing. Now finally, the drain I mentioned earlier. Now this, I personally used a Noggle statue for it. You can use, it doesn't matter what Noggle you use, any Noggle's fine. If you don't have one available, they can come from events, seasonal stuff. And if you don't have one at all and you're not able to get one, what you can also pick up is something I have up here, which will have the same Noggle base, so it works just as well. These Zeram Void Plume ornaments, these come from Archimedean Yanta. They are costs of 1 Void Plume pinion each, so roughly 5k experience Void Plume feather. But I'd recommend getting the Void Plume down one since it has the smallest profile. But this is the same base that the Noggles are on, so these will work just as well as any Noggle you can use. For my example, I'm just going to grab a random Noggle because I have a lot of random Noggles. But if you don't have a Noggle, you can purchase one of those. Again, 0 platinum, totally free. So let's pretend that this floor is the shower floor. Get it close enough to flush. So let's place, let me pick a random Noggle I have. Mesa. So we're going to do a similar technique we did with the placing the floor, placing that wood panel earlier. Rotate it. Well, first I'll change the angle snapping so that it's relatively flush to the floor. Now you might want to raise it up just a little bit. Give it more of a appearance of a possible drain. That was a little too much. I raised it up there. So. You don't need to raise it up much. Like that might be enough. And just give it up a little smidgen. Maybe this is closer enough for you. You might also want to scale it down as well. This still makes for a kind of a big drain, but it's enough to simulate the look of a drain. So you can have that as the drain for your shower area. Just place it kind of close to the shower. If for some reason you need another drain, place it elsewhere as well. So we have basic shower stall, shower heads, shower knobs, shower flooring, drain. One thing I mentioned earlier was for my shower stall wall, this left side, I did not go with the Zimmermann wall panel. I went with something else instead. That's because on this left side, there is an awful lot of trash I wanted to hide. The bulk of it's right there. So I wanted to use something kind of bulky that would hide all of it. Enter in these Zimmermann hallway dividers. These are huge, they're very blocky, and they're only 5K rep each. So I am using 3 of them. Let me show you the trick of how I use those. Again, we're going back here. Let me actually remove these. And yes, I am using an awful lot of Zimmermann items. Okay, so hallway dividers, by default, they're freaking huge. Huge, blocky, cheap. So the portion that I am using of these dividers is actually only the bottom portion down here. The rest of this is actually intersected directly into the wall. Let me show you how I did that. Let's see if it'll be. So let me explain one quick thing first. So every single furnishing item you have, they all have a rotation point. This one happens to be kind of near the bottom of this particular object. So when I rotate it, it rotates around that point. Ordinarily, that rotation point will not intersect with anything. This will come into play later, but I'll just explain it now because it's easier to see the rotation point here. So where this blue, red, and green lines, where those intersect, that's the rotation point. Now, it's not as much of a problem with these here, but it will be a problem with something else I'm showing later. But I will show you guys a trick on how you can deal with getting these getting your furnishings that ordinarily don't want to go through collision to go through collision. There is a workaround that works most of the time. And I actually had to use it for something I did. But anyway, so to hide the trash, I use this big blocky bottom of this hallway divider. Took 2 of them. Let me see if I think I only had that one. I only had the one. Yeah, I only had the one. So I took 2 of them, stacked one on top of the other, made them much bigger. I don't know if this is max size, but if it's not, it's pretty close. Made it so that they're large enough that they mostly go to the top of the Zimmermann wood panel I used. It didn't quite make it to the top when I stacked 2 on each other. However, if I tried 3 and made them large enough so that they covered the trash, I had the problem of... So you notice when I rotated this thing, there's an awful lot that got pushed into the wall there. What got pushed into the wall when I put the 3rd one on top got pushed into this room. So that was not going to work. So I'm dealing with the 2 instead, and I made them fairly large. Now, what this ended up with is I had a gap at the bottom of this one. You can see the gaps, what I have below the highlighted red. You can see some of the trash through that, so I wanted to hide that. I did that through multiple means. First one being put this hand spa in front to cover up some of the trash that's showing up underneath. Put this footstool in front, cover up some of the trash that's seen underneath. And I kind of like the footstool idea anyway, because it's more of like a Japanese bath style type thing where you're like sitting on one of these footstools, like washing up before you go and sit in a bath and whatnot. So I like the idea of having that as a both a functional and form type thing for this. So 2 people in the back rooms, 2 footstools. So that it's decorative and functional. It's hiding stuff and it looks pretty. Another thing I ended up doing on this left wall is to cover more of the gap. And also this will works to give more of like a reflective shower stall type surface is I use these Duvery repass tables. Let me show you these. I have another one. Now, these you can get for Enigma gyromes from Duvery. So what I did, and I'll place it in front of this thing I have, the Zerman thing I had placed right here. Took that, rotated it, just 45 degrees, placed it flush against this. Let's see if it'll let me do it. I might have to move these around a bit for it actually to work, or to actually show it flush. So that hid the bottom gap. This little gold portion right here hid the bottom gap that was underneath the bottom wall divider I had over there. This I might... Let me actually rotate this. I'm going to put it on the other side of this. I think it's having issues with me trying to put furniture near this door. I've noticed that's been a problem. Move it flush against here. I think I might have to move my drifter as well. So yeah, move my drifter away from here. Yeah, if you're placing furniture, yeah, your pet, yourself, the furnishing can't interact with either. So try to keep yourself away. If you can place down, if you have a pet bed, you can place that to maybe keep your pet away. Okay. I keep hitting the wrong button. Don't mind me.
Helminth isn't
Hi, Arthur.
watching. Kalimos isn't watching. Even Eleanor isn't watching. And I am right here.
And I am right here playing with furniture. But yeah, so let's see how flush it'll let me get this. Now, I did this against both the these marble pillars and yeah, it is not wanting me to move this flush. It's weird. But we'll simulate that. So pretty much what I did is I wanted to have this table as close as possible to either the wood panel or the, I'll call this marble divider thing here. And if it'll let me do this, being a little wonky right now, kept pushing it closer, closer, closer until the glass part of the table actually disappeared. Then I pushed it back forward until it reappeared. So it gives a better, like, flat, shiny surface, no gaps going. So that is what I did over here for these two Zerman hallway dividers and these tables. I put the same tables over on this side as well against the wood panel. Same sort of technique, pushed them as flush against the wood panel as I possibly could. So you kind of have like a reflective, almost marble-like and shiny surface for 2 walls of your shower. Now you notice this right here. This table at the bottom and this table at the top do not line up. We'll explain that next. So first what I'm going to do, so underneath the stairs, just as there was flush against this wall. There is also trash. It does not look pretty. But in addition, because of how I place these tables, because that shiny surface, let's see. I'll be just a bit here. There we are. Move this out of the way. The bottom part of those tables, I had to push the top one back so it didn't clip through the stairs. Now looking at that, you could actually see these really stand out beneath the stairs. So I wanted to hide that, as well as hide some of the trash that's underneath the stairs. So what I did is I used we're using Zimmermann wall panels. I got a couple of them I used here. I just moved one of them out of the way so you can see both that bottom part of the table sticking out, just like this bottom part of the table would have been sticking out if this was smaller, like that, or thinner, like that wood panel. So I had panels going through the stairs. Made these slightly larger, lined up the top of... I had to use two of these. I lined up the top with the top of the stairs here. You might want to shift it back and forth, left, right, like into the wall, away from the wall as needed. You will definitely have to use a constrained movement local to push it into the stairs further so you still have actual stairs. Yeah, let's make it a little bit lower again. But still, like, hiding enough that you don't see the trash and whatever else you have, like, intersecting outside of the shower stall. So you probably want to do local for this one. I keep messing up. I did this. I'm trying to get it slightly lower. Keep messing this up. I did this when I initially put this down too. So that way, this way, and I want this to go up. I'm just going to keep lowering it for a bit. So if I lower it too much, you can start to see part of that Duviri table right there. Also the other panel I put in place showing up there. So let's bring it back up just enough. But the table's hidden. We still got stairs going. Now for getting these rotated, what I ended up doing is, actually looks like I need to bump this up a little bit too. Yeah, we'll fix the rest of that later. So a couple things I did. One, I wanted this to be pushed up to the top one, be pushed up to the top of the stairs. Two, in order to get the right rotational angle, for these, these stairs aren't just a straight 45-degree angle. I end up counting the rectangles on these stairs from left to right. Here we're seeing 6. So I looked at the number at the top of the panel. So top stairs, 6 rectangles, bottom of the panel. Currently, there are closer to 7 rectangles, so I do need to adjust this a little bit more. We'll fix that later, because it will take a lot of tweaks. But what you'll want to have is so that the panel you have placed, the bottom, the rectangles, so this one has 7 for this bottom panel I placed. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then if I go to the top of said panel, it should also be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rectangles across that. So that can help you get the right, like, rotational number, like whether it's 48 degrees or 55 degrees or whatever it is. You can use these little rectangles to help you figure out what is the right angle to put these panels at. I've tried other stuff to put under these stairs as well to hide what's under there. I just find these wood panels to work the best because they're rectangular in shape, kind of as the stairs are. So it's you don't have to worry quite so much with what you're using to hide the stuff under the stairs, like possibly interfering with other stuff you're placing. So I happen to like that best for hiding what's underneath the stairs. So, yeah, I'll fix that top panel later. I'd have to be tweaking it an awful lot. Okay, so we got our trash hidden now. Well, actually, I forgot one other part of trash hiding I forgot to mention, you guys. So, Zimmerman hallway divider here, Zimmerman hallway divider right here. What I forgot to explain to you guys is I also have a Zimmerman hallway divider here. And that's because there is more trash to hide here. I ended up, rotating this instead of the big part of the divider going through the wall. I had it go through the floor instead. And hopefully it'll let me place this. Give me a moment. I'm not sure what's interfering with it, but it shouldn't be. Yeah, something's interfering with it. We'll keep moving this around until it stops doing that. There might be something underneath the floor here that's interfering with it. Yes. Get it placed anywhere. There we are. Try it from further away. Yeah, I think there might be something underneath the floor that's interfering with it. But what I essentially did is I took said panel. I won't be able to place this, unfortunately, but I'll at least give you guys the idea of what I did. Rotated it into these panels right here. This one's actually letting me place now. So said panel into the floor. It's covering up the trash cans that were here. I rotated it into the wall divider panel things I used right here. Kept adjusting, rotating, so that it was hiding all the trash that was poking out beyond these two dividers right here. And what I ended up using for was kind of a shelf that I could place stuff on. So little extra detail stuff, so your shampoo bottles, whatnot. So I use it as kind of a shelf for like placing things for your shower. So instead of like your little shower caddy close to the shower, it's more out here instead. So it also kind of fits with more like a Japanese style bath type thing where you have like the your wash up area kind of separate from like your bath area, except it's a shower area instead. Yeah, rotation wise, really just flipped it one divider into another divider until I got that. So we had 3 Zimmerman hallway dividers there. Now, the shelf stuff I did, first thing I'm going to show you guys is the top shelf I have, because this is just a quick explanation. With all the space I had here, I wanted to have an additional shelf high up. What I ended up doing this, just messing around with it, because I'm like, oh, this could be something. I took a Deveria lectern, and my initial thought was I was going to have this as kind of a towel rack with, let's see if it will. So the top part of this, so the kind of half circle shaped thing at the top, I was going to hang that off of the these wall dividers right here, and have the actual thing that the towel hangs off of as that thing that's at roughly 45-degree angle there. I messed around with it a lot. I could never get it to work out quite the way I wanted. So what I did instead is I flipped it upside down, so we now have a flat shelf. And it instead hooks onto this divider, kind of at a weird angle. Now, I tried moving this around a lot to get it intersecting with this divider. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a way, even with some special fancy tricks, to get it completely intersected with this divider, so it looks more like it's hanging off flatly off the top of this divider. But looking this way with the kind of 45-degree hook here, it's not too bad. It works. So yeah, if you want like an additional shelf option, this is one possible thing you can do for like a hanging shelf type thing for your shower area. This intended to give it a look of, it could be a couple things. This could be a towel basket. Now, if you look up and actually look down into the basket, there's actually fruit in there. This wide fruit basket is from Cetus. So you can get it with a 50K experience there. So they're kind of pricey. So, but you can think that as, hey, it's a towel basket, or maybe it's a potpourri bowl or something like that. But I kind of like the look of that on that shelf there. Now, as for the other details that I have over here, shampoo, conditioner, these Duviri flasks are available from, I'm probably going to mispronounce her name, Akrithis, the Duviri vendor. These are not Enigma Gyre items. These will pop up at semi-regular intervals in her normal wares. So the same wares where you can get like arcanes or capturacy and stuff like that. The flask will show up in there. There's also mugs and other Duviri furnishings you can get in there as well, but I happen to like the flask for this. So these you can have as representative of like shampoo, conditioner bottles, body wash, whatnot. They also shrink to a good size. Unlike like the mugs in the pitcher, they stay kind of big. So the flask worked pretty well for that. Other option you have, actually, one other quick note. These you normally buy with just your regular Duviri mats. Not always the same mat, but you don't have to worry about getting like Pathos Clamp or Enigma Gyres for these. Just whatever mats you get around the world, you can buy these with. Now, another option for shampoo, conditioner, body wash, I use the Zerman Night Nutrition Cube Hydrator. I don't remember how much this cost off the top of my head, but it wasn't too bad. So probably like, I'm going to guess 5 or 10K. It wasn't too bad. Now for soap, another Zerman item I used. So the nutrition blocks, I initially placed the protein one because it's more of a rectangular shape, and it is the only nutrition brick that's more of a rectangular shape. But I wanted something that's more of a traditional soap color as well. So I also grabbed the fat cubes instead, and these are actual cubes. And placed them next to each other. They're somewhat intersecting, but this white off-white color is a bit closer to your traditional soap color. And finally over here, this is another thing from Cetus, crack jug. I don't remember how much this costs off the top of my head. I'm going to guess 50K because a lot of furnishings from Cetus are kind of expensive. It might be cheaper. But my thought behind this one is, given the whole like Japanese like bathing style thing, I wanted to have like a wash bucket, like flat wash bucket type thing. Unfortunately, the only one I could find, it's in Duviri. I actually found it next to this hand spa thing in a Duviri world, but it's not a furnishing item that you can buy in place. So I figured, what could I use that can at least hold water that you can use to rinse off? And the jug, close enough. Oh, by the way, if I haven't mentioned, I think I forgot to mention this. Hand spa right here. You can kind of look at it as a sink, but I'm also primarily using it to hide trash again, like this footstool. I can't remember if I mentioned that, but yeah, here we go. Now, the last thing I have here, I have these two items, the blue things right here. These are meant to represent a towel or towels. Now, these get a little tricky. These are Zerman Lunaro hanging banners, the long version. And getting these to intersect with these hallway dividers, a bit of a pain. Let me see if I can show you why over here. Let's place the hallway divider down again. Hopefully I'll show exactly the problem I had. But there's a trick around it. So that thing about a rotational point I mentioned earlier, it very much came into play here. Where rotational points don't want to intersect with anything. You don't want to, collide with anything. So I have another narrow banner somewhere around here. I just spot that earlier. Yep, here we are. So the rotational point for this is the metal thing. However, what I really want with this is the more cloth fabric-y thing. So I wanted to hide the metal. So what I wanted to do, and it's not letting me do it, is hide the metal and just have the cloth stick out. I'm trying to push it against it. It's not letting me. So a trick you can do, and hopefully it'll work here, and this is what I had to do. So rotate it at roughly 15-degree angle in some direction. Go to your constrained movement. You're going to want local. So you're going to have two axes that are pointing to or away from the direction you want to go. In which case we have the green one and the blue one. So what you want to do, and let's start the green one. Push. Push. Putting it at that slight angle will allow you to push it through objects that you normally can't push it through objects. Or it's weird, but it works. I'm not sure why. I don't understand enough of the engine or how they have this handled or whatnot. But I had to use this method to get this item that I'm representing as towels to intersect with this hallway divider here. And what I did is I gave it the 15-degree angle, push it through, then rotated it back the 15 degrees. Sometimes after I rotated it back, sometimes it was too high, sometimes it was too low, so I had to rotate it again to 15 degrees. Maybe bump it up a little. Bump it down a little. And just keep going back and forth with that until I had the towels sitting at the top of this little shelf I have here. So I placed one towel on top, or one Lunaro hanging banner on top of another Lunaro hanging banner. Try to give the appearance of a folded towel type thing, not quite cleanly folded. And because these aren't flat, like here you can see, if you're looking at it straight on, it's got kind of a curve to it. I did rotate them slightly. And not 15 degrees. I just totally turned off angle snapping and just gave it a slight rotation. So not only is it like not neatly folded, but it's a little bit crumpled, wavy as well. Let's see if we can see it from a little tight back here, so it might be a little hard to see. Yeah, so you got a little bit of like free space or blank empty space underneath the bottom towel here. You got a little bit of empty space between the top towel and the bottom towel here. There's definitely some empty space between the two towels under here as well. But I really like this item as a towel because the fabric on it, the texture kind of gives the appearance of the towel. So I really did want to use that there. It just took a little work to get it into place. Now, yeah, a couple other things. If you end up putting this together like exactly or nearly exactly to what I did with this back Duviri table pushed back a bit so it doesn't intersect with the stairs, you might end up with a blank space of just wooden wall right here. Now, I covered this with a lot of things, actually. Let me show you some free options you can have to cover up the space. Throw some decor there so it's not just the blank wooden wall. If you want to do this is totally optional. A couple things you can put here. The first thing I did is I took some Prex cards. Now these are the back of the Prex cards. I just had them rotated so that the back of the Prex cards is facing out. Stacked one on top of each other, sized them so they're roughly the same size as that blank space I had there. Now it's not the best looking thing. They are kind of matte, and when you got like the shiny stuff here as well. The color tone is somewhat similar though, but if you want something more shiny, another option you have, I'll just place this over here for now. So these posters are available. I go to my operator menus, pick any. If you have a lot of points in a focus, like for example, I have a ton in my Zenric one right now, under represent, these posters under each focus school, 1 million each, they do have a shiny surface to them. Depending on how long you've been playing, you might be able to buy a ton of those. Or if you haven't been playing quite so long, or maybe not so much, but those are, again, 0 platinum. They do have a shiny surface to them, so if you want to shine your surface to that, I just place one next to each other. I use Zenric because I happen to have a lot of Zenric points. So it's another option if you want to hide the wooden texture there. Another thing I tried... Actually, let me move my drifter out of the way. Trotty stool, you can get these from Bird 3 under Shiny Treasures. So I push this into the wall just a little bit so it can act as kind of a shelf. So that helps hide some of it. Now I happen to have a little bit of blank wooden space up here as well that I just decided to hide with some token ornaments from Grandmother in Necrolisc. Optional. You can throw whatever you want up here. There's a lot of options for things you can place against this. It's just what I happen to do. And lastly, this right here, the Alpine Monitor Sawgoth Floof. I was hoping for a rubber ducky. There's not a rubber ducky. But given that this is 1, a bird, and 2, kind of that yellowish orangish color, it's close enough to a rubber ducky. So there's my pseudo rubber ducky. Whack whack. Okay, so one more thing to cover, and again, very optional here. So if you go back to the very back of my shower I have right here, you notice this kind of shine I have. Yellowish shine, you see at the top here. You see it on the sides along these gold. That is not there by default. I put that in. So it's kind of an ambient lighting effect I have there against the shower. So let me show you how I did that. Oh, one quick thing I forgot to cover. Other optional thing, if you ever want gold trim anywhere, in Toronto wall sconce, just push the light part into the wall or whatever or whatever. The gold trim you can place, cover seams, whatnot. I put it up there to cover seam. And some of the light I use for the ambient lighting is reflecting off of that. But let me show you how I did the ambient lighting real quick. It is hidden. So, another wall panel. Also used to hide trash. Surprise, surprise. Let me move this up and out of the way. So yeah, there's my wall sconce right there. The lighting part is hidden behind the wall, and the gold trim thing is in front of it. So I showed this trick in my lit fireplace video. You can do a sort of ambient lighting in your back room and in your dormer zone, and to a very limited extent to your orbiter, using Warframe articulates. What you want to do is pick a loadout where you have a Warframe that has 1 of 2. Get the wording right. Ephemeras on. There's 2 ephemeras that emit light. The one you're going to want for your static ambient light, let me get the name of it. It might not be available immediately, but I'll show you another option in case it's not available right now for you and you don't have it. So I'm using the Asper's Apex ephemera. This came initially from the Operation Belly the Beast clan event in June 2024. This is pretty much just your static light emitting off of it. If you do not have this and it's not available for you to get right now, another option you have from Kuvalich's Vengeful Flame Ephemera. This is more of a flame flicker effect coming off, but this will be available all the time just as long as you have access to Kuvalich's. But yeah, let me move this back to the Asper's Apex because this is more of a static light emitting thing. No, I only wanted just a very, very subtle light for her. So for the shower, so I picked a dark color. So we have here this is the Narmer color palette. I picked up not quite black, but pretty close, like a very dark gray color. So it gives a very subtle lighting effect. If I pick something darker, like a black or a near black, you're going to hardly see the lighting at all. Now, if I pick something much lighter, it might actually be too bright. So let me show you that as an example. We're going to lighten up the light. Now, in order to see it, we're actually going to have to reload the back room. So I'm just going to come back in. So back here, you can just barely see the light. It's like a little bit of reflective effect. But since I lightened the light color, we reload the back room. Good enough. We come back in, that light should be much brighter. Wait for it to load in. Yeah, so that is significantly brighter back there now. So if you want some sort of ambient light back there, that's an option you can do. Again, if you want to go sort of like neon, let's see, LED shower light effect, you can use said ambient light, that effect as well. Maybe you want to make this, I don't know, bright red, bright pink, bright blue, whatever. Now, the whole reason I put this in here in the first place is, one, this back corner is kind of dark. And two, the lighting camber ambient back here was actually more of a turquoise-ish color initially. You can kind of see it further out because the ambient light doesn't go very far. So I just wanted something just to lighten up the area just a little bit. And if you want to, another way you can make use of this light, instead of just putting the ambient light in, like I did, maybe you want to combine that with an actual light fixture, such as the Zerman flush mount light. I came very close to calling it a flesh mount light. That's something very, very different. But this looks like it has light emitting off of it. It really doesn't. What you're seeing instead is actually a reflection off the shiny surfaces. There is no actual light emitting off of this. But this, and you probably want to scale it down all the way, combined with the actual light emitting from the Warframe reticula, can give the effect of an actual light item that emits light, if you want to do so. So this probably the best option would be to, once the game lets me, there we are, maybe have that mounted on the top. Push back a little bit, so maybe you can have your Warframe reticula hidden just behind this, and it can have the effect of, it looks like there's some light coming off of your little light fixture there, if you so choose. Totally optional. But yeah, that was a long video, and that should have covered pretty much everything I put in here. If you have any additional questions about how I did stuff, where I got things, whatnot, let me know. I will answer it in the comments. And we should have another build video, 0 Platinum builds, coming up reasonably soon. I'm currently planning the next thing I will be building the backroom here. But yeah, thank you very much for watching, and hope you enjoyed the video.